you doing? From the streets of Kansas City in the heart of America. It's probably the most perfect seat where we can watch history unfold. Also, this is the scene of the beginning of the Second American Civil War. And if you don't believe me or don't know, just read your history. I did a little talking about it earlier today. Matter of fact, this morning, this morning, which is almost morning tomorrow, the 20th. And in that I talked about a little bit of Civil War history of Kansas City, Missouri, and also the border between Missouri and Kansas, where, as I've said before, if you don't know and you don't know your history, this is where the Civil War actually began in the 1850s. And today is a big day, or tomorrow is a big day. Today leading into tomorrow. We're having an inauguration of the 46th president, vice president of the United States, and unfortunately, the United States has claimed a transition of power. We can't say that anymore because some homegrown terrorists decided to follow the words of their leader and try and take over the U.S. government and stop a that didn't go their way. And I don't know if these people realize they're really in the minority in this country. Sees it their way, except them and their own echo chamber. I've had one person basically write a response to me today saying that he's a member of that echo chamber and that all the proof that the election was stolen has been swept under the rug because the courts won't even hear the cases. And I'm like, that's not how I recollect anything. So my response is, for people that really want to argue but don't really have anything to back up what they say, is to tell them to go home and get their proof. Bring your proof and then I'll listen to your argument. I really will. A lot of people will. A lot of people like to know this. But, we forget about things like the Red State Project, where right-wing Republicans have been taking over all the state houses, and a lot of this with greedy corporate funding, so that corporations can get away with doing things like polluting the atmosphere, gutting labor laws, deregulating everything so that corporations can do what corporations do, which is grow into huge systems, which that's one of the things that leads to fascism, is when you have large corporate monopolies running certain segments of the economy. It was proven not to be a good thing as far back as the Roman Empire, when it was done that way. So we've tried to enact laws and regulations to keep these large trusts, is what they've been called, from forming. I mean, if a segment of the economy is going to be dominated by one entity, then our reaction to it is say, well, okay, that entity is now a utility and is very heavily regulated by the government, so that they don't go out and gouge the public of their needs. And unfortunately, with a lot of right-wing politics, we've gutted a lot of that, and so now you have people who, like for instance, what was it? Diabetes medicine. Getting charged exorbitant prices by a company that decided that they should be able to get away with it. And the funny thing is, a lot of times when you look at this stuff, these companies that have these monopolies, they don't do it alone. They actually have, you want to talk about socialism, they actually have a lot of their research has been done by government entities and government and just handed over to them wholeheartedly. Here you go, take it. This was made with public money, but now you get a corner of the market, and that to me is corruption. I was talking to a friend online, and I was trying to entice him to get addicted to this. Unfortunately, I think he might be a bit of an addict on this kind of thing. It may be bad for him. But I was talking to him about, what was it? The big fear of today is that not that the right-wing militias will somehow decapitate the government and take over. The fear is that there will be an insider operation, like a National Guardsman who is secretly a member of, participates in a lot of these chat rooms and goes crazy, goes berserk, and uses his weapon on whoever, whatever, does violence. I mean, whatever happens today, the government will go on, and there is a procedure, and unfortunately, to make sure that it goes on without a lot of drama, they've had to lock the whole city of Washington down. This is probably the first time since the Civil War, really. As you know, I believe that the first Civil War was the American Revolution. In succession over slavery. And I hope not in our lifetime. My streaming device is also my alarm clock. There's Popo over there. Wonder what they're doing. The downtown airport. I think that maybe we have dodged a bullet and we just don't realize it. This may have been a kind of a watershed, letting us, our people who are not easy to reason with, who are, in my opinion, essentially doing the bidding of the Kremlin. And that was another thing we talked about, Q, and who is Q? Who is this QAnon? Because it's supposed to be a insider informant. And I said, well, and my friend said, I wish we could go find Q and arrest him. And I said, well, I don't think the FBI has jurisdiction in the Kremlin, because of the way it all plays out. It seems like it's a very clever video game, human psychology, that Q is actually probably very well known and is existing inside the Kremlin. And it's probably not a person. It is probably that cyber warfare unit in Russia, and maybe in China. Who knows? I'm gonna go a different route. I'm early, so I'm gonna go through downtown. So when you say, who is Q? Can we get rid of this Q? I'm like, there's a lot of people, I wish they would wake up and realize, hey, what's going on? That America does have enemies, and that the enemies are using people inside our own country to try and work against us. They're trying to sow division. And, you know, when you've got a president of the United States who refuses to say anything bad about what's going on in Russia, I mean, Russia has been doing some bad things, if you haven't noticed, over the past few years. They've invaded sovereign countries. They've created low-level insurgencies. What's going on here in the United States? It's right along the Russian playbook. You know, Russia has quelled freedom and democracy at home. And the best thing about all that is that people who work with Putin and Putin himself, and a lot of the what do they call them? A lot of the people who hold the power in Russia. I'm forgetting the word right now. Brain fart. Are former communists who were high up in the Soviet Union. And so, essentially, they're trying to take power for themselves, which was always the name of the game in the Soviet Union. And we got a bunch of enablers who are helping them do it here. I mean, if you really want to see what any kind of civil war may look like, that's what you really want in the United States. I don't think most people want that. I don't think most people want that for their children. But unfortunately, it seems like we have a lot of really crazy people, mommy's couch dweller children who never failed to launch, aka the Q Shaman. And these people are going to dictate to the rest of us how we should live our lives. I'm like, well, it would be nice if you could figure out your life first, instead of telling everyone else that you're dissatisfied with the government. I mean, that's a very classic thing. There's a lot of people, unfortunately, are very unhappy with their own lives and don't know how to get out of the spiral they're in, and so they get trapped in this nightmare of Black Lives Matter on the road here. Oh, this is by the library. Yeah, that's right, down. You know, are caught up in this quagmire of conspiracy theories. And essentially it comes down to they have nothing better to do. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking of a song by one of my musician I like, very clever. His name is James McMurtry, and he is the son of Larry McMurtry, who wrote Lonesome Dove and, you know, books like that, The Last Picture Show, Texasville. Anyway, he wrote a song called Can't Make It Here Anymore, and it's all about essentially the declining industrial base in America and how it's making a lot of people, you know, there's quotes in the song like broken glass and broken dreams, and, you know, and there's one line in the song, there's a lot of lines in the song that really apply to this, but one of them is like, that people who don't look like me, or should I just be mad at myself for, you know, the situation I'm in? I don't, you know, there are a lot of sad stories out there, and I guess, and this is really, really hard to do, we should take a page from the wisdom of the world and say that we need to reach out to people with empathy and understanding and try not to be so judgy And this kind of leads into another thing that I felt very strongly, and that is that, this whole thing about ideologues. We love to appeal to ideologues. We love to show the extremes of any point of view. That way we can sell more tickets. We can get, conflict sells a story. And so the news media loves conflict so that they can sell the story and get people to watch more of their it's exciting. The news can be pretty boring at times, but if we pump up the conflict by showing the extremes of either side, which is very weak journalism, by the way, many times when I've been working and there wasn't any idea of how to go about doing a story, the cheapest shot is to go out on the street and talk to people. It's called a man on the street, but we started calling it AOI sound. Any old idiot will do. And it's just saying that, what is Joe Blow on the street? And that's what a lot of people think. What does this Joe Blow on the street know or think? Why are they asking him this question? Why don't they find somebody that really knows or is involved in it? Well, because we couldn't in the time allotted, and so we resort to. And that also, we love when there's a meeting and table and chairs start flying and people are shouting and yelling and screaming and, oh God, watch this conflict happening. And it's transferring out into the national discourse, where the media is just trying to get everybody, all these eyeballs glued on them, get their ratings up. So they go out and they find the extremes. Showing that is convincing everybody that extreme, which we're not, and encouraging the crazies to come out and do their little dance in front of the cameras. I swear that a great deal of the stuff that happened in Washington was because people were vlogging and they wanted 1 million views to their vlogs, so they all went down, let's stage a takeover. Whoa, it'll be entertaining. People will really watch my YouTube channel now. Until YouTube starts banning them, which, as they should be doing. I mean, I know. I play that game too. I mean, I'm not completely innocent, but I'm trying to. All right, where are all the? This is a very confusing array of cones here. It's like an obstacle course. Where's my cheese? But there are certain things that I have decided I don't want to do. I don't want to. I've had the opportunity on my vlog to show very prurient things, prostitutes and their lives, and sexy women, and all that. That kind of thing is just like the immediate. You'll get like 75% of all YouTube viewers, which are men, will just go right to it. 1 million hits, guaranteed. Or, extremes in politics. Some people would accuse me right now of what I'm doing. Oh, you're doing it too. And I'm actually, when I'm driving, when I have to run my errands, I'm killing time. I'm running a dash cam anyway, so I might as well talk about this. It's interesting to me, but also I'm concerned where this country is going. But again, pardon me for rambling, but again, I'm following back to what I think, that we may have dodged a bullet. Could you imagine if Trump was successful in his coup? Like if he actually was able to take over and they declared Trump the winner of the election that everybody knows he lost, then there would be a civil war. Then it would be institutionalized, because you would have members of the military say, I can't be a part of this. There'd be all sorts of people, police, and you think it would just be say no and being all lefty and stuff. They don't like guns, yada yada yada, all the stereotypes, and they wouldn't fight for their freedom. First off, you underestimate people on the left. Secondly, that's not really what would happen. What would happen is you would have a civil war. You would have whole chunks of the military fighting against other chunks of the military. Then it would be a bloody mess. Then you probably would have something like NATO and the United Nations stepping in and taking over our nuclear arsenal, because we would become a nuclear liability. I mean, if the wrong people get a hold of America's nuclear weapons, then you don't just have Civil War III, you have World War III. And all of this because some power-hungry dictator in Russia wants more power. And there's a bunch of willing idiots in this country who are ready and willing to do his bidding, all the while wrapping themselves in the American flag. Do you see the irony in that? They call themselves patriots, but yet they're doing the bidding of America's enemies. I wholeheartedly do not agree. And I think most people do not agree. And I also believe that the people who think that they're doing their quote-unquote research and finding all this stuff on the internet need to start vetting their sources. And by vetting your sources, ask yourself a question. If a person who is writing this information, if it is a person, is caught, if it's a vetted, reliable source, that person will be fired. Their company could be sued. Their business could go out of business. But, the next question would be, well, do you think Fox News is a vetted, reliable source? Yeah. The Fox News part of Fox News, which actually is a viable news organization that actually covers the news. Unfortunately, they dedicate about 5 minutes, I don't know, every half hour to doing a news wrap-up, and then the rest of it is punditry, which means that people can get on and editorialize and lie and everything. And really, if they were honest about it, they would say, this part of the program is pundits. This is editorial. This is not news. CNN does it to a degree. MSNBC, all of them kind of do it. I don't have to get gas. What am I here for? I'm here to get some of my lunch. So pardon me for a little bit. I'll turn the camera around so that we can see something other than Quick Trip. Rockstar parking towards the street. This is a very active Quick Trip. I usually don't like to come to this one very much, but it's pretty much in the heart of Midtown. Alrighty, so I will be right back, and then I'll be wrapping this up pretty soon because I'm almost to my destination. But yeah, when you watch things like Fox News, CNN, all of these companies that are actually vetted companies, ask yourself how much of this stuff is news and how much of this stuff is punditry or opinion, editorial. because a lot of these organizations are running loose with that news, and I really think they need to label when they're doing actual news. Hey, I'm back. And I see people stuck with me. Thank you for that. And it's not the most exciting sitting at a gas station. Although, quite often, you'll see a lot of police and ambulances hanging out here because this is like right in the center of the city. I had to go in and we're out of the type of food that I can eat. And they have these protein packs and stuff, which are not really cheap. And I got a salad. I've been dieting. And you know, the key syllable in the word diet is the word die. But I really do wish that there would be when they put out a news product, quote unquote, and then they jumble it in with punditry and opinions and everything, just guaranteed to get you to watch and hang out for that 24-hour news cycle. I mean, I tell you, the news people, they love what's going on right now because, oh my God. You know, that should be their slogan. There is an awful lot of construction going on in Kansas City on the roads. And it's like becoming an obstacle course. So, yeah, I'm not so fond of that. And like I say, the average Joe is getting in on the action. And I think that a lot of people who were out there in Washington at the takeover, the attempted coup, they all were holding, some of them were holding really sophisticated rigs, mirrorless cameras on gimbals, and a lot of people were live streaming, not just with their phones, but with sophisticated get-ups. I don't know how many times I could count one of my favorite cameras, the DJI Osmo Pocket, being used on the extended selfie stick. You know, these people are just, I think they were there for the excitement and the I'm gonna televise this and everything. And I'm like, you know, I've always said that there's a democratizing effect of the new media where everybody can get a hold of things and they can live stream and do what they but there is also the other side of it. What if people are twiddled in the fingers of sophisticated lie machines, which is apparently what is happening. I've got in the wrong lane here next to Winstead's. So anyway, those are my thoughts. I've been noticing that there are a lot of people who are interested in the subject and are watching, so as long as it's something that's of interest, I'll keep doing it. And I'm about done. I have to go to my destination, so I will wrap this up here. Thank you all for watching.